So welcome back, guys. So in this tutorial, we'll be learning about 8 JavaScript security best practices you can use in your web application. When developing JavaScript application, security should always be top priority. Neglecting security can leave the application vulnerable to attacks. Below are the 8 essential security best practices every JavaScript developer should follow. Number 1 on my list is validate user input. Always validate and sanitize user input to prevent malicious data from being processed. Input like form, URL, and query parameter can be used to launch attack if unchecked. Reject or clean any input that does not match the expected format or criteria. So the next on the list is use a content security policy, CSP. CSP help prevent cross-site scripting and code injection attack. They define which sources of content, script, images type the browser is allowed to load. A well-configured CSP ensures your app only executes trusted resources. Next on the list is ensure HTTPS is used everywhere. HTTPS encrypts data exchange between the client and server, protecting against eavesdropping. Redirect all HTTP traffic to HTTPS and use XSL and TSL certificate. Never send sensitive information over non-secure HTTP connection. So the next on the list is implement secure authentication. Use strong password policy to ensure user creates secure credentials. Hash password using secure algorithm such as bcrypt instead of storing them as plain text. Use token-based authentication method like JWT, that is JSON Web Token, to manage user sessions securely. The next on the list is protect against cross-site request forgery. CSRF attack occurs when unauthorized command are sent from a trusted user. Use anti-CSRF token in form and API request to verify the authenticity of each action. Restrict action to specify origin using same site cookies attributes. So the next on the list is secure cookies. Use the secure attribute to ensure cookies are transmitted only over HTTPS. Apply the HTTP only flag to prevent client-side scripts from accessing cookies. Set cookies to same site equals to street or same site equals to lags to protect against scroll origin attack. Then the number 7 on the list is avoid exposing sensitive information. Do not expose sensitive information like API keys, database credentials, or secret and client code. Store sensitive data in environment variable and keep them out of version control. Use encryption to protect sensitive information stored in database or file. So number 8 is regularly update dependency. Outdated library and packages often contain vulnerability that can be exploited. Regularly review and update dependency into their latest secure version. Use tools like npm audit to identify and fix potential risks. So, in conclusion, by incorporating these security measures, you can significantly reduce the risk of vulnerability in your JavaScript application. Regularly audit your code and practice to ensure they align with modern security standards. So let's move on to the code and then let's try to write one or two code on what we've learned so far. So this is my HTML file, and then the first thing we'll be talking about is the input validation, right? So for the input validation, we'll be creating a form and then we'll be writing JavaScript to what? To validate the input and then run some test cases on it so that anytime the user submits any information, the user won't submit a wrong information and then the wrong information will be processed to the database. So let's create a div container called form container. So inside this form container, we are having a form tag and then the ID is submit form. So this is what we're having right now. So in this, we're having our H1 called what? Input form. And in this, we're having input of type input to be what? Type of what? Type of text. That is what we are having right now. And then the ID is user input, right? So it's type of text, and we can just say text is just let's just say name or username. Let's just put it as username. Then the next thing is that anytime you submit the form, so let's create a button, and then the button will be type of submit. So the button is type of submit, and then it's also having an ID of btn. So we are saying what? Submit. So we've created the HTML right now. This is the HTML right now. And then before that, I've also created a style sheet here. So in this style sheet, it does have various selector in the HTML. So this is what we have right now. So let's move on to our HTML and then let's view this. So let's view this in the browser. And then once we're able to view this in the browser, so this is it. So you can see right now it is not doing anything. It is just what? It is just refreshing. So let's now go to the code and then write one or two JavaScript on it. This is the JavaScript file that I've created. Nothing is inside it. And then what? I've also linked it to the HTML word, to the HTML tag. What are you doing? We're doing about input validation. So what do we want to do? The first thing we want to do is to create a function called validate input. Then the validate input will take in a single parameter called input, right? So in this input now, the first thing we want to do is that we want to remove any HTML tag. So we are going to be achieving that by making use of regex and this regular expression. So let's create a container called sanitize inputs. So in the sanitize input, it's going to take in this input parameter, and we are going to be putting a place method on it. So the place method on it is going to take in two parameters. The first one is the regex, and then the first one is anything you want it to be replaced. So in this case, we're having G, right? \G, right? So and then anything that has to do with tags. So we want to do what? We want to place it here, and then just say asterisk. And in the case of this, so we are going to do this. We are doing this, and then we're also doing this. These are the two things we want to make sure we have. And then the next thing is that we want to replace with empty string. So anytime anybody type in any of this character and you submit it, it's going to be what? It's going to be replaced with an empty string. So the next thing we want to do right now is to remove any special character. That's what we want to do. So for us to be able to remove any special character, I'm going to call this sanitize input, and then we're also going to put a replace method on it. We're going to call a replace method on it, and then it's going to be what? In this case scenario, what are we having? We're having GI, and they want to have a regular expression of this. So we're having this, we're having this, we're having this, and then we're also having this as well. So, and then the second parameter right here is what? Empty string. So the next thing we want to do right now is just that we want to trim white spaces, right? So we just say sanitize input equals to sanitize input dot. We want to call the trim method on it, right? So the next thing we want to do right now is that we want to check the length of the input that is being submitted. We want it to be within a specific length frame. So what we want to see is that if this sanitize input dot length is greater than 0, and then it is what sanitize input dot length and it is less than 50. That is, the character should not be more than 50 character. That is what this thing is implying right now. So we want to what? We want to return the sanitize input. Else, what do you want to do? You want to what? You want to throw an error. Throw new what? Throw new error. I can just say invalid input. So that is that for that. So let's save this file. So the file is saved, right? So the next thing we want to do right now is that we want to bring in the elements we are making use of in our HTML. And how do you bring in those elements? Number one, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Firstly, we are going to press so the next thing we want to do right now is that we want to bring in the form we created. So we can do that by making use of get element by what? By ID or any of the selector you want to make use of. So in this case, I'm making use of by ID. So let's just say submit form, and you can now see that document.get element by ID. So we are getting it by what? Submit form, right? So the next thing we want to do is that we want to get the text, whereby in the case of this, anything it is being submitted, right? So any text that is being submitted, we want to show it in the what? We want to show it in the front end. So let's just do that by writing h3 right here, h3 tag, and then let's just give it an ID of show text. I want to give it an ID of show text. So let's move back to the JavaScript we are working. We can just say show text equals to document.get elements by ID. And I'm going to do what? Show text. So that is what we want to talk about right now. So the next thing is that anytime you want to add an event listener to the submit button, that anytime it is being submit, you want to add event listener of what? Submit to it, and they want to have a callback function. So the callback function is right? You can just put any parameter in there, and notice first I would say prevent default. That is, we don't want the default character of form anytime it's being submitted. The next thing we want to do is that we want to bring in the input by saying user input and say document.get element by ID should be what? User input. And then also, what we want to do next is that anything you want to do, let's just put it in a try and catch block, so that if there's an error, we'll be able to use try and catch to get any error we are getting. So we want to now create a variable called const validated input. Validated input, we now see that what? Validate this input function we call on right now, and then we are going to pass in this user input to it dot the words, the value of what it is going to be submitted. And the next thing we want to say is that we want to say show text, and we want to show it to the front end, and the text context equals to what? Validated input. So the next thing we want to do is that anytime they submit the form, we want the form to go back to what? To the default what? We want to clear the form and say user input dot value equals to what? Equals to an empty string. And then also we want to show an error. That is, if any error occur, we are going to text back the error to the front end and say show text context equals to what? Error dot message. So that is what we want to do right now. So let's go to the form and then let's try to check it out. So let's go to our browser and then let's check it out. So let's press in anything. Let's press in this and then let's click on submit. Can you see that when we click on submit, it is not showing us what we want? So when we click on submit right now, it seems we are not getting it. So let's try to debug it out. Let's try to debug it. Let's see where the bug is coming from. So it's saying that unexpected token at what main.js 12. So let's go back to our file and then let's see. So it should be sanitize input dot length if it is greater than 0. I believe this should do the work right now. So let's click on this. So right now you can see that we are getting what we want. So and then if we should put on any character right now, you can just say Taiwo and then we put on any character and then we press submit. You can see that it does not show. At least we've tried to clean and then sanitize our data. So the next thing we want to talk about is the CSP, which is what content security policy, like we've explained earlier on. So the first thing we want to do right now is let's just close all this tab and then open our terminal. So let's close all this tab and open our terminal. So once we open our terminal, what do we want to do right now? I want to go to the git bash. So I want to make use of git bash to install some of the packages we are going to be using, because we are going to be using one or two packages. So one of the two packages we'll be using, we'll be making use of Express and Element, right? That's what we are going to be making use of. So that is for JavaScript application, because Express is a minimal framework that you can use for the server side alongside nodejs. So you can use it to create a robust backend application or a robust backend API. So the first thing we want to do is to install what is called Express. So we're going to npm install Express and Element. So that is the two packages we're going to be using. Element. So npm install Express and then Element. So let's install that. So let's see it is what it is installing right away now. So in the next few seconds we should be through with the installation of the package. So before that, so let's create a file that is called server.js, right? I'm going to create a file called server.js. In this server.js, we want to import the different packages we create. So the first one will be imported right now is the Express. So you can just see we are going to be making a basic syntax because I'm making use of the latest Node.js. If you want to make use of the import modules, you can as well go to the nodejs.com. The Node.js, you can just type Node.js, download Node.js, and then download the latest package for the Node.js. So in this case, I'm using the latest one, so I'm making it, but you can just say import Express from Express, right? So what's the next you want to import? You want to import Element. Import Element from where? Element. So the next thing we want to do right now is to instantiate the Express application, and then call this called server equals to Express, and then let's instantiate it like this. So the next thing we want to do is we want to use this what we've created to create a middleware in, and if we want to create a middleware, we're going to be making use of what we call server.use, right? Because we've instantiated it, I'm going to use server.use, and then I'm going to pass in the I'm going to pass in this parameter called element dot what we want to say content security policy, right? and we are going to pass in all these parameters. The first one we want to pass in is called directive, right? Directive, and then this directive is going to be doing what? So we're going to have default SRC, that is the default source. Yeah, we're going to say self. It's going to be self. The next one right now is script what? Script source. It's going to be what? We're going to be having self. So sorry, this one is small letter. Self, right? And this one is what? On save inline, right? The next one is your trusted CDN, that is the script you want to be making use of in your application. You have to make sure it's coming from a trusted source, from a trusted server. So you just say trusted cdn.com. That's what you want to be making use of right now. So the next thing we want to write is the style, right? So the style you'll be using in your application, where do you want it to come from? So self, that is from the word self, from your own application, right? And then where now? Where else? You can just say HTTPS font dot google apis.com. That is where you want your style to come from, your image, in this case now I'm making use of the font style. That is where do you want the font to be coming from. The next thing is called image SRC. So image SRC. So from what we've been doing before, self, right? And then also data, and then where? HTTPS. So connect XRC. All this I'm going to explain it one after the other. So connect XRC. What are we having right here? We're having self. Also, what are we having? We're having self. We're having HTTPS. And we're having api.example.com. Then the next is font source. Where do you want your font to be coming from? Self, and then HTTPS font.gstatic.com. Then the next one is object XRC. So I'm setting this one to be what? Setting this one to be none. Then the upgraded was upgrade insecure request. Then we set that to nil. So what is this doing right now? Right? Let me just close the terminal. So let me explain this to you guys one after the other. Right? This configuration restricts resource loading to specific trusted sources, helping you to mitigate XSS attack and unauthorized resources. So you are making sure that anytime you want your application to make a request to a specific resources, then this is where you have to input everything. In this case now, right, the default script define the default source for all type of content unless overridden by default directive, which is called what? Self. So the default script, it controls which JavaScript that can be executed on your website. So that is what that is saying. The self simply means that you want to allow your script from your own website, and then the second one, which is called what? Unsafe inline, also permits inline JavaScript, and then also the CDN, that is if you are making use of any trusted CDN like this, maybe analytics CDN, and then so on and so forth. The SRC, which is the style SRC, connect your style sheet. The self simply means from your own server and then from the other server you want. So this is what this is trying to say. Your image also, it is also from your own server, which is self, and then the data simply means it's allow base 64 coded images, and then the HTTP simply means it allow it from what? From external sources, and then the connect SRC simply means if you are fetching a result from an API. So these are the APIs you want to be executed on your on your application. That is, these are the website, these are the resources you trust. That is what this is going to help you to do. So, and then up onto what? Up onto the font, that is the font you want, maybe your local host font, you hosted some font locally, that is self, and then maybe you are using Google font or other font from other CDN or from other website. So the next one we want to be talking about now is the HTTPS. Like this, the number 3 on what we're talking the number, which is the HTTPS. So let's create another folder for this, and then let's call it HTTPS. Right? So we are creating let's create another folder, paraventure we can create another file, and we can just say https.js. So in the case of the https.js, we want to make use of the inbuilt modules that we have, such as HTTP. We can just say import https from what? HTTPS. And then the next one to say import fx from fx. Next we want to also import our the express we install. We can say import express from express. Then we want to instantiate our express application. We can just say server equals to what? Express, and then instantiate it, right? And then also in this case scenario right now, we want to make sure that any resources we are going to use, it is secured. That is, anything we want to make sure that it is secured. And then for it to be secured, you must have two things. You must have your key, and then you must have your certificate. You can get an SSL certificate from most of these hosting platforms, and then once they give it to you, you can integrate it to your website. But this is the way you can also integrate it to your application. You can just say const options, and then just say equals to what? You can just say equals to, this is what we have right now. So you can just say equals to what? The key, right? The key is fx dot what? Dot read file sync, and then to the part of where your private key is being located. So, and then also I'm also going to do that for the certificate as well. So you can just say this is what SART, and then this one is what? This one will be changed to what? Certificate. So that is that on that, and then you now use your create server. You can say https dot create server, and then that will take in this as a first parameter, and then your server, and to say that listen, and then on what port you want to say 4500, and then a callback, that is if it has been connected, what message you want to get. So you can just say console.log, you can just say http connected, http server running on port what's our port 4500. So that is that for you to be able to configure your https. And then so for by you to make the https simply means it is what it is secured, right? So you are what you are making a request to what to a secured resource. So the next one we want to talk on the line is the what it is the secure authentication, right? It is the what? It is the secure authentication. So how do we secure a user? How do we secure a user account? So let's close this, and then let's close this as well. Since we've not said, let's close this as well, and then let's create a new file also. So let's just call the name of the file secure.js. So in this case scenario right now, we'll be making use of one or two packages. We've installed Express. We've also installed let's check the packages we've installed so that we'll be guessing. We've installed Express, we've installed what element, right? So the next package we want to install right now is called what? The next package we want to install right now is called GW2 JSON web token. You can just say npm install JSON web token, right? And then also bcrypt JS. So this is what we want to make use of right now. So since we've created our file, let's just continue with what we are doing. So we can just say import express from express, right? Because we've done that before. You can say import gwt from JSON web token, right? And then lastly you can now say import bcrypt from bcrypt.js. So right now this is installed. Let's just continue with what we are doing. So we want to create a server by saying const server, and then let's instantiate our Express application. So we are instantiating the Express application, right? Let's make use of this module called server.use, right? We can just say server.use, and we can just say express.json. That is, we can use this to send a what? We want to use this to send a form application. So it is used in sending what? Form application, right? Also, the next one we can just say server.use as well. Server.use, we can just say express.url encoded, and they are going to say extended express.url extended. We are going to say that what? Let's say express.url encoded, and then let's just set this on extended to be what? Extended to be true. So that's what we are trying to do right here. So the next thing we want to do right here is that what? So we'll be making use of JWT. The JWT is just like a token, and then once you get the token, you sign in with the token, and then once you sign in with the token, any route you want to visit or any place you want to visit, you have to submit the token for you to get what? For you to get the pass. If the token is invalid or the token is incorrect, you'll be what? You'll be bounced back. You'll be tell that what you are saying, this token is what? Is quite what? Is incorrect. So let's move on to what we are doing. For example, now, the first thing we want to do is just like let's create the secret key, and then let's just say secret key. So the next thing we want to do, we can just say const, you can just say server dot post, and then we are going to log in. So let's just say request and then response. So what is request and response? So we want to get the username and then the password. So we are trying to destructure it from the what? From the request.body. That is what is coming from the body, that is r.request.body. So in real world application, we want to fetch the user from the database first. So and then how do we fetch the user from the database? You can just say const user, and just say await, and then this one is going to be what? This one is going to be in sync. Const user await, and just say user dot find. You can just say user dot find by ID, right? So this is what most are going to be using in most of this remote application. But let's just put our async here, and then in this case, let's just go with a dummy character. You can just say await. What will be the await? The await will be what? Find the user by the username or the ID, either one. Then you pass in this, which is called the username, and then after passing the username, you are going to want to verify if the user name is correct or not, and then this is where you are going to also make use of our bcrypt. You can make use of your bcrypt to check the user password. You can just say if it is not equals to user, right? Or what? Await bcrypt dot compare. Then you compare the password that is coming, and then dot the user hash password that is in the database. So you compare the two. If the two is correct, then you what? Then you make sure that the user scale through. But if it is not correct, then you return your response. Return res.status, return 401, and then you now see JSON, right? What will be the message? The message is what? Invalid email or password. That is the information you'll be returning. So let's now check, or let's now create the token. Let us say create a token, right? For us to be able to create a token, we're going to make use of JWT. So for us to make use of the JWT, what are we going to use? I'm going to make use of const token, right? You can just say JWT dot sign, right? So what are the information we want to pass in? In this case, we want to pass in the ID, right? So you can just say user dot slash the ID, and you can also pass in the email. You can just say user email equals to user.email. These are the information we want to pass in, and we're also going to pass in the secret key, right? We also pass the secret key to verify, and then the expiration date. So in how many hours time do you want it to expire? So for expires in what? In 1 hour. So that is what you want to do. And then if this is correct, the next thing you want to do is that you want to return what rest.status, and then you return to one, that is JSON, and you can just say message user logged in, and then you can now pass in the token. This token is sent. So in the case of this right now, we are saying that the user has been logged in, and then also we are also passing the token. So we are just trying to create this so that you guys know how you can secure your application. Then the next thing you want to do is that this token you created, you want to make sure that you verify it, and then that is where what we call the middleware comes in. So you create the middleware to check if the user is authenticated or authentic, or if the token is passing is valid or not. So let's create a function called verify token. And this function called verify token. So you want to have the request, the response, and then the next. So all middleware usually have the next what? The next as a parameter. So anything that happens there, you call the next. So const, let's create a what? A variable called const alt header. In this const alt header, you want to request the header dot authorization. So make sure that you spell this thing very well. Authorization request header dot authorization. So this is where you are going to get the token from. So if this is not there, that is, if alt header is not there, what do we want to say? We want to say return res dot status. Status we are returning is for one. We want to say dot JSON, and then we'll pass on this message called what? No token is provided, right? No token is provided. Then we want to call this token, and then we want to say alt header dot split. We want to call the split method on it, and then we're going to see what we're going to be getting it. And then the next thing we want to do is that we want to verify the token we just sent by using the verify method provided by what? Provided by JSON. So this token you are getting, this token that is sending from this place. So you are going to get the token, and then you are going to also verify it with the secret key. So I'm going to check it with the secret key. If it is what? If it is verified, then you want to have a callback function called error and then user. Then what would this one do? So this says that if an error occurs, what do we want to happen? So we want to return res.status, and then let's now say 403. Let's say JSON. The JSON want to pass, the message you want to pass is, message will be passing is fail to authenticate token. That is what this one is going to tell us, fail to authenticate token. And then if that is successful, what do we want? We want to concatenate this user. We want to concatenate the request.user to this what? To the user. that we'll be able to verify our what. We'll be able to verify what we are doing. So and then we'll call the next method and we say next, so that it's going to move in. If this one has been passed, then we're going to move to the next thing on the line. So we can now do what? We can now say server.get. If you are having, this is protected route, you can just say protected route. This is just like a protected route, and you can now say verify token. That is, this must first pass. If this does not pass, it's going to send you the message we write here, verify token, and then the next thing is going to say, the next thing we're having is what? Request respond, and what? I'm going to return rest of status 200 JSON. The message will be what? Protected route. So this is that on what? On securing your user application. So that is just like a dummy. What? You create the login details. After you create the login details, you create a middleware. After creating a middleware, you are going to pass the middleware to any what? To any route you want to protect. And then if the user passing the token, then the information will be served to the user. Are you getting it? So that's just it. So the next thing we want to talk about right now is the cross-site request forgery protection. So let's just write one or two things. So let's create a new file called crossword CSRF, right? rf.gs. So in the case of this as well, we're going to be installing one or two packages as well. So you are going to be installing cookies parser, and then npm cookie parser, and then CSRF. So these are the two packages we are going to be making use of. So let's install that. So while this is installing, what do we want to do? So we've created the file right here. So let's import express from express, right? The next thing we want to do right now is just import CSRF from what? From this. That is good. So the next thing we want to import is import cookie parser from what? Cookie parser. So the next thing we want to do is that let's instantiate our express application. So const server equals to express, right? So we are still instantiating our express application. So let's instantiate that. So the next thing we want to do is that we want to see server.use. We want to use the inbuilt express middleware, which is server.use. We say cookie parser, right? Passing the cookie parser, and then we are calling the method on it. I just want to use to pass the cookies. Then also we say server.use, and then we say express.url encoded, like what we did earlier. We can use extended result true. So we want to use this one to pass from data, and then the middleware as well. Let's use this to pass server.use, and then we are using the what? CSRF, right? And then in this we want to do what? We want to pass the cookies to what? To be true. So the next thing is that we want to pass the CSRF token to the view. So how do we pass it to the view? We are going to say what? Passing CSRF token to view. That is what user is going to be able to. So that is the user using the application server.use. And I can now see what. So server.use res rec res and then next, right? So now see rs.locals dot CSRF token goes to rec dot CSRF token. Then we call the method on this and then pass the what, the next function right here. So this is serving as a middleware. So let's just create a simple form and then let's submit it to a page and then let's see what we are having. So for us to create a simple form, let's just say what, let's say server.get. So we are creating form, right? Passing request and then response. And then what's the next? You want to say res dot send. What do you want to send? I want to send a form, right? Let's create a form right here. So the form action will be what? The action will be to submit page, and then the method will be what? Will be post. It will be a post, that is, you are submitting to what? Submitting to a resource. So we want to create an input. So this first input will have a type of what we call id. Type of id, and then the name will be CSRF underscore CSRF, and then the value will be what? This, and then this res dot locals dot CSRF token. So let's create an input right now. So input, the type is text, the placeholder is enter data, right? And the name, this is quite important, it's what? Data. So let's close the input, and then lastly we're going to be submitting this. So the type is what? The type is submit, and then let's just say submit button right here. So once we click the send, right? So we want to send it to this submit place. So server post, and then we are having this submit, that is the action we're going to take. So in this case, you are having the response, and then so let's console.log the body, console.log rec.body, and then let's say rec.send is what? form submitted successfully. So let's now also create a middleware that is, if there is what if there is an error, this is what we want it to happen. So server.use, and then in this case I want to write error res rec res and then next. So if there is error.good, it is not equals to aba dc sr aba dc srf token, then what do you want to do? You return or what? Series status 43 send valid token. So let's create let's create our server and then let's see what we have here. For instance, now let's create our server and then let's see what we have here. So let's say server.listen. So you want to listen on this port 4000, right? And then let's have a callback function called this. Let's say console.log server has started. So on the final note, I want us to install a package called nodejs. Right, so I want to install a package called nodejs, and then also I want us to make use of this. We can just initiate this by doing this, by saying so let's wait, I guess this one is done. So we can just say npm init y. Okay, so I believe our package.json file should have been updated right now. So our package.json file has been updated. So we're having new server.js, that's good. So anytime I want to have dev, I can just say what nodejs server.js. So we can now run npm run dev. So let's type module here. I believe that is what is causing the error right here. So okay, server.js, but we want to work on this file called cs. So let's go back to this place and then let's now say, so we want to work on cs. Notice now we want to put csrf, right? That's the folder we are working on right now. That's the file we are working on right now. So let's wait a little bit and then let's see what we have right now. There should be a callback for this. Let's just stop the server and then let's run npm dev. So server has started, right? So this is what we have. Server has started. So let's now go to localhost 4000/4, right? So you can just say localhost 4000/4. Now you get it, right? Now you getting anything. Why are you not getting anything? You'll be able to view this in the front end now. So right now we've come to the form and it is not showing. So let's go back to our code and then let's try to fix what is happening. So what I'm saying right here is that right now this is not in quotes. Let's put it in quotes. This one as well is not in quotes. Let's also put this one in quotes. And then also let's put this one also in quotes. So all these are now in quotes. So let's now go back and then let's see. So right now it has been appearing. So let's just pass in the information and then let's press this and then let's press submit. Can you see? So form submitted successfully. That's what you're arriving right here, and then send what it send this CSRF and then the data. Can you see right now? So what will this thing? How does this thing happen? So like I said, the express we are using right here, it's a web framework for JavaScript, and we can use to create routes. So this CSRF right here now, it's a middleware and it is enabled for protection. It generates a valid CSRF, and you can see the sample of it right here right now. So the cookies we make use of right now, you can use it to pass because the CSRF requires middleware to store the CSRF token in it. So that's just that, by the way. So let's try to move on to the next line of action. So the next line of action right now I want to move on to is the sixth one, which is what? Secured cookies handling. So let's just create another file and then let's just press cookies handling.js. So in this case scenario right now, let's close this server right now. So let's shut the server down and then install a package called. So the package you are installing is called what? This is the name of the package you want to install. The name of the package you want to install is called npm what? It's called session package, express session package. So that's all we want to make it. So let's just say npm install express session. So while that is installing, let's do as we always do. Let's just say import express from express, and then let's just say import session from express session, right? So let's instantiate our express application like we've already been doing before. So let's use it to create a middleware. So the middleware will be creating, you can just say server.use. So the use, are going to be using this session to message session, and then in this case I'm going to be saving some certain things to it. So the secret, right? So the secret will be your what? It will be your personal your secret key. And the next one is receive. Set this to false. Save on initialize. Save this to true. And then cookies. You want to make it certain things. So say you say secure. You say what to be true. That is, it can show only cookies it sent in the what in the server that has HTTPS. So you can just say HTTP only. And you set that to true. And you set same size, and then you set it to strict. And then the numbers of hours max. So you can just see that is the cookies expiration date 1 5. So this has been set for what? For 1 hour. Okay. In this place now we can make use of what we call express session. These settings ensure that the cookies are only transmitted over what? Over secure data. So it makes sure that the cookies you are sending is what? It's sent over secured data, and then it cannot be accessed by using what? Client script or JavaScript, all these malicious scripts. So the next on the line right now we have is that, like we've said, and when we are trying to show you guys that time is what we call what regular update, that is third-party application. So let's just create a simple file for that, and we'll just say third-party management. So let's just say .js. So what you are going to be making use of mostly is that you update your package very well. You can just npm update, right? These are the keywords you are going to be using. You can check for the outdated packages you are using. npm outdated. So doing this, you check the one, and then you can now install it. npm audit as well. So you can use this to check the packages you are making use of, and then if there is any error, you can also make use of npm audit, and then you fix what you've got. So let's comment all this one out. These are the things you are going to do about third party. You are making use of the third party libraries that you are using in this case scenario. Third party libraries such as what we are having, such as the bcrypt, cookies parser, CSRF, express session, element, and then JSON web token. These are the things that you can always check, and then check if it has been outdated or not, whereby you can now update it. So the last on the list is what? Proper error handling, like we've said in before. So let us see error.js. So in this case now, we just want to make use of what we've been using before, which is what? Import express from where? From express. You can just say const server equals to what? Let's instantiate the server. Let's instantiate the express application. So I don't know why this one is always doing it like this. Let's just click this out, and then we want to create a custom error 404 page, and then we can just say custom error 404 page. You can just say server.use reg, and then what next? Then you do this and say return res.status here 404 okay dot send. What are you sending? You can just say sorry, Sorry, cannot find this page. So, and then we can also make use of what? The custom error handler, that is the global custom error handler. So just the custom error handler. So you can just say server.use. In this case, you're having error, you're having 4 parameters: error, request, response, and then next. Right? So in this case scenario, we'll be doing this. We'll be saying if there's any error, we want to console.log error.stack. So, and then we can now say return rest the status. What is still by return 500, right? And then let's just say dot send. You can just say something went wrong. And then the next thing I'm going to call is what? I'm going to call the next. I'm going to say what? What's the next thing? I'm going to say no. Let's just do it right here. You can just say next, and then we call the middleware. So, and then we can now start. And now start server, making your server dot listen. This is the port 3000. And then we can now call the callback and now say console.log server is on port 3000. Right? So guys, we've come to the conclusion of what by one of the best practices of what securing your web application. So just for the take home, this setup provide custom error page for your 404 error, and then for the internal error anytime you are facing all this in your application. So in conclusion, by implementing these security practices will help you significantly improve the robustness and the security of your web application. And then you can focus on the input validation, the CSP like we talked, the HTTPS, the secure authentication, and then the SRF protection, and then cookies handling. So by doing all this, right, you'll be able to improve the security of your application. So guys, thanks for joining, thanks for waiting till this end. So see you guys in the next session. Thanks.